what is region? Mostly we talk about region as the zones, either geographical zones or some other kinds of zones, certain kinds of boundaries beyond which something else is happening, etc., etc. So people stay in the hilly areas, people stay near the river, people stay, or so it's a nature human existence, the space context reference. But it's not only isolated, the space and the human beings. Human made and natural environment creates a culture, creates the logic of giving a meaning to that. That is culture. Mostly in Indian context, the India is the largest film producing country in the world, and it started long time back. If you really go into the context called Chitra Pata, Pata Chitra. So the narrative structures being, or the stories being told, like moving in time, if you go to the old temples and other kinds of things, or including Torisa, Patachitra, and other kind of thing. So it's a happenings in front of you and the events going into. But somebody has to create a narrative. Somebody has to weave it together to tell a story. And when that story is being told, what is the essence of it is the language. So when we're talking region, region is not for separation, segregation. It is generating that self to a better or a meaningful understanding of self, world, and the society. Society is not just some local habitat, like somebody built those buildings and I stay there as a society. Individual society is a very, very interesting kind of a very deeply connected logics of something. And through centuries and generations it goes, and that's way exactly it started happening. And there was a element called Shambari Kharolika, which was the images started moving, which was done by the Patwardhan brothers. And then there was another person, Vatavdekar, who started taking a camera and shooting something. So slowly the cinema. 7th, 8th, 9th July 1896, Lumiere program from France was shown in Mumbai, Watson Hotel. Storytelling through certain kind of a technology oriented device. And that is where the power of context started coming in and storytelling. Then Darasaheb Torne, Darasaheb Phalke, and other kind. But simultaneously, there was one Mr. Madan, and there was, I think, Pramadish Barua, and so many other people, somewhere in Calcutta, somewhere in Chennai, somewhere in Travancore, and these people. So that is where region sensibilities and cinemas were there. But there was a very interesting phenomena in that while you were watching, they were interconnected. So somebody came from Calcutta to Mumbai, somebody came from Travancore to Maharashtra, and there were film zones were getting carried. There were so many zones. And there we started calling regional cinema, because there the producing creative abilities, along with their literature, along with their performing logic, along with their music, along with their folk forms, along with their beliefs, their issues, their context of references. That day I was talking, because sometimes when I went to Karnataka and we were showing a Japanese film, and the villagers watching a Japanese film, and after that suddenly they started telling me, something in Kannada. I was not understanding Kannada, they were not understanding Japanese, but they were understanding cinematic language. They were understanding that human context. They were responding to it, etc. And therefore, I feel cinema was one of the, like painting, music, art. That's what we are talking about: the sculpture and architecture and spatial arts and temporal arts like music, dance, theater, along with literature and the traditions of mythologies and storytellings and folk tales. It was taken in by cinema, and therefore, Indian cinema is so different. Because Indian cinema is not just copying from some other Western country. It originated here. It originated. And its origination was the language, along with the storytelling, along with the narratives, along with a certain kind of stylistic logics of performances. Because whatever you see in a particular region is evolved through that, along with the dance forms, along with the certain kinds of emotions and the context of references. So cinema in India was always regional. There was nothing monolithic kind of thing. This is Indian cinema. This is along with also theater. This is along with literature. And that is the most beautiful part of India. Such a diverse spectrum of beautiful cultures coming from so many different areas, zones, and other kinds of things, slowly started producing cinema. Another factor here was that somebody from Mumbai or somebody from some other place will go to some place. So the people involved in it, most including technicians, including the production people, the funding people, and other kind of people. But most of the time, people start saying, "Oh, I don't understand that language." Oh, cinema is a language. It's a very different language. So, which I generally prefer to call it audio-visual, spatial, temporal structures of fragmenting things, what we call as a frame, short, scene, take. But now it's very important because somebody is telling the story to you on the screen, and the screen in which you sit and like the like since morning I'm talking to looking at it, that there's a folly. Somebody's door opening, raindrops falling in Kerala near seashore, where the fisherman is desperately trying to pull his boat out of it, and his wife is waiting for him through the huts. Yeah, this rain in Kerala seashore is different than rain in Mahabaleshwar. So it's a nature. Pani, that water, earth, sky looks different. And that's why my story and being human in that story and my journeys in those stories are very important. And such a beautiful storytelling happened because it is also connected to the context of generating the sentiments or emotions, which is totally different in Indian cinema. Why Indians start like producing a film when they were not having equipment and the other technical support? Because they love stories. And those stories connect them together. They come from that region, but that region is not cutting them off post independence. If you really see the intertitles and showing things into Tamil cinema and Telugu cinema and Malayalam cinema, whatever it is, stars emerging them, their music, directors, their dance shows. We like to see cinema in totality. There are certain agencies like National Film Archives of India or National Film Development Corporation, Film and Television Institute of India, National School of Drama, started generating artists from various zones, various regional context of references. If you see the earlier, even so many film stars from Bombay started going to this mixing. When I went to FTI, I realized my cameraman was Kannada. My editor was from Nepal. And my sound recordist is from Haryana. Wow, what a country. We have to talk to each other in a cinematic language. Yeah, that is region. Region is that harmonious existence to create something meaningfully. If I'm talking to, I was going through the film looking for a location in a Pune lanes by lanes, seeing a Wada, and somebody in something and says, okay, this is very architecturally interesting. I'll do the lighting in that way. And then I realized this collaborative art with so many regions and their intermixing creates that beauty in India. Regional cinema is there, it's having its own context, simultaneously it's going. And slowly, young minds started doing it. Cinema went into 90s, 30s, 2000 and something, onslaught of television and cable and this and that, OTT platform or something. But there's a most important thing happened there. It's called in a cinematic language, when the camera becomes like a stylus or a pen in your hand, let's see how that generates. And therefore, the camera has become small. Now you got the gadgets and equipment, and those people without waiting for the film stock to get and the lighting and the huge film cameras and something. Now everybody has got a camera. Express yourself. And therefore, regional slowly started spreading around small towns, villages, somewhere they started telling stories. They have got their own stories. They will struggle hard. They may not be technically that finesse and everything. They are not out there to grab that multi-crore context, but they want to tell the stories. They want to have and express themselves. Now there is a other agency. So creator and a receiver, creator and a viewer relationship. You don't have to go to cinema hall. Probably there are other platforms in which I'll put my film and I'll get my recognition. I'll tell my story there. So I started making, people started making short films and other kind of things. They said, I know some of my students, their films were shown and they were selected abroad for the script labs. Immediately they said, you write the script, we are ready to fund you in a minimum way. Some of my students who were working, they collaborated with some Vietnamese guy. So this region does not remain only in India now. What we call global. Global is that interconnectivity. And that's why when we were talking about the Pune Film International Film Festival, and we are doing that kind of a thing. We got Marathi cinema, we got Indian cinema, we got 100 plus cinema. Somebody coming from Azerbaijan, somebody is coming from Croatia, something is coming from some other part of Mongolia. But the Mongolian woman in those beautiful kind of thing, or some kind of a person in Philippines or Indonesia, and the people started saying, yeah, this story is also part of mine. And there is a global market now. Make your films. There will be funding. There will be artists. But essence and origination should be yours. And that is regional. That makes it like nature. Nature never compartmentalizes. Nature never disturbs the harmonious existence of human beings with another human beings. If you're not understanding regional, so the future, yes, probably, like a couple of years back, there was a film in Marathi, and the film was judged by the person in Korea and Iranian lady. And then she said, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's my language. Somebody dies in a small place, and the whole village is crying, and suddenly some kids start thinking about that death and the whole thing. This is the youngest and the most powerful language, or screen language. It reaches to you without you knowing it. It tells the stories. It tells the issues, passions, values, philosophies, and it starts dissolving into, yeah, I originate from region, but I become somebody. And I am being liked there, and there's people who are watching my films. Same thing happened with Mani Kaul, Kumar Shani, you are Satyajit Ray, Mrunal Sen, you take care. So that is regional cinema is such a rich context of literature, music, acting, performance, set designing, lighting. India is such a beautiful country producing this interesting. We consume in our own world more, but slowly this and the future is now out. Because somebody was feeling that I'm not able to reach to Mumbai, I'm not able to reach to this. He says that I'll put it there. I'll put it there and there will be people watching it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. The future. And when we are talking about pandemic broke us. Pandemic isolated and gave us a feeling of fear of something beyond your comprehension. And the regional cinema will grow again. It will be there. There was a person who made a film with a crowdfunding. Can you just imagine? People are ready to put money. You take the money, but you give me good material. And that is why now the world is opening apart from this pandemic. And that is where we have to think about regional future, not only the market and global, but the sensibilities and sensitivities getting shared. And that will connect to us rather than parochial or distrust, anger, hatred amongst each other. No, art is never meant for that. Art makes me aware more that I'm human. And that is the necessity now. I'm talking to you about ecology of culture. The global warming in ecology, that means the cultural context of creative aspects should not create between us the boundaries, hatred, violence, disrespect. No. And the regional context will slowly bloom into it will form into, it will morph into their stories. Why somebody says, sir, that Iranian cinema is good? Something happened to that Iranian kid, still is really. See what happened now. The Korean director wins an Oscar. The Korean woman makes a different kind of a entry into the cinema. So the world is yours, created. When I was watching a film from Arunachal Pradesh of a tribe, I have never seen a water like that. I have never seen somebody coming with those kind of a tribal carrying his weapon, and then he realizes and talks to the mountain, his journey. A woman, a girl, recently I showed an Assamese film, the girl whose village is separated by the water bodies or something, and nobody comes. One journalist comes and shows on something. But she decides that she will be there and see to it that that bridge will get connected, built. But she will prefer to stay in that village. Everybody needs that human dignity and respect. Regional cinema offers you stories, acting styles, music, various kinds of things. The way you have not seen the rocks or the sunsets or something, this is not touristic cinema or tourism cinema. Regional cinema is that identity of being self and connecting to the environment and making that environment welcomed by the people like you, and seeing that cinema so that they feel that they are being supported, they are being sort of offered a hand, or somebody is ready to take. And therefore I say regional cinema, context of technology, distribution, exhibition, international context. Even in India, there are various kinds. Some people came to me and said that, oh, there's a very interesting Marathi films with good content is happening. The guy came from Karnataka and said that I'm ready to finance it. I went to Trishur and there were 300 Malayali people asking me about Marathi cinema. Why this happens? Let's connect us together. Let's be humanly connected towards each other. And then you'll understand what this country is that great and beautiful. From the theater tradition, music tradition, dance tradition, literature is cinema. And that art form requires connoisseur, aswadaka, rasika, and that you are going to be there. If you are going to turn your back, there's no future. Because they are not being even seen here. Because you don't like to see that. No. Every person has got that context called hope and future. Post pandemic, we need that inner support of hope and future through art, through cinema, and exploring our visions, dreams, or ideas, and sharing with everybody around us. And beyond that, that is like nature. Nature never cuts into the boundaries. Art never cuts into the boundaries. And therefore, in Pune International Film Festival, we call it We Celebrate Cinema. International Film Festivals been recognized. They are now in Cannes. We're taking into Satara, Kolhapur, Solapur, Nagpur, this kind of thing. Solapur, I saw 500 young minds coming with short films and said, we want to make films. Element of meaningfully connecting to something called art. Is art necessary to you? If it is not, that's your choice. But somebody's creating, somebody's exploring, and somebody's waiting. So future is in the hand of the maker, but future is also in the hand of the audiences or the viewers. And that will bring them together, and that will go into the larger divine. And therefore, I offer this last sentence is because this one great lady called Lata Mangeshkar sang in almost all languages in India, but she put us together. She sang in Bengali, Bengali, this, that. So my whole today's session, I offer it to Lata Mangeshkar. Thank you.